Hello and welcome to Quarterlight, your car brochure channel, and today's episode, the Mitsubishi Space Wagon. Hello and welcome back. Now if you're new to Quarterlight, we're a car brochure channel here on YouTube, looking at cars from around the world for the 60s, 70s, 80s and 90s and sometimes beyond that as well. So if you're interested in cars and car brochures, please consider subscribing. Anyway, back to today's episode, the Mitsubishi Space Wagon. And this is the first generation Mitsubishi Space Wagon. So we're firmly in the 80s, well kind of, because actually the brochure is actually at the end of the first generation. It's actually a UK brochure dated August 1990. So let's hop straight into that and have a look. And here it is, the Mitsubishi Space Wagon. I say Space Wagon, that really wasn't a universal name. Probably more commonly, like in Japan, known as the Mitsubishi Chariot. You know, think Roman Empire. But indeed it was known by many different names around the world. I think in general in Europe it was the Space Wagon though. This is first generation UK brochure, so a UK spec first generation Space Wagon. These were first exhibited at the 23rd Tokyo Motor Show in 1979, and they ran from 1983 to 1991, so very much an 80s car really. But like I say, this particular brochure dated August 1990, so we're almost getting ready for the second generation. The second generation look a little bit more sort of rounded off, a little bit more normal looking. This looks very boxy and very much early small MPVs really. But you can certainly notice on this example headlamp washers, how nice. Anyway, let's open the brochure up and have a look inside. Inside the front cover we get this quite a lovely little shot actually of this Space Wagon, really promoting it as a family car. Looks like they've gone to someone's birthday party in this very, very expensive looking house. Time of year we can even have a look at, really, can't we? We can comment on that. No leaves on the trees, but we do have daffodils out. What time of year is that in the UK? Well, if my memory serves me right, snowdrops are around about February, so maybe, is this like March, April? Maybe wrong, tell me if I am wrong. I could well be. Interesting little car in the background, extra points if you know what this is. I'm assuming another Mitsubishi of the same time period, so jot that in the comments for extra points. Anyway, this particular one that's shown here even gives us a number plate, doesn't it? G780XDG. I don't know if he wants to check to see if that's still around. I very much doubt it will be, of course. Wheels, very simple sort of steel wheels, haven't we? These little, quite pleasant looking though, centre caps. And if we move back, we can see some quite prominent front head restraints. Normal doors though, no sliding doors on these. This is the GLX model, so a bit of a two-tone treatment going on, isn't there? And at the back, sort of this hatchback style or van style tailgate with these huge struts actually, which is one thing I noticed when seeing that. Anyway, let's move on and see if the brochure tells us a little bit more about this model. And as we turn the first page, we get a very wordy page actually, so we're certainly not going to read all that, but we'll pick a couple of key points out of it, I think, and a couple of pictures. I'm going to zoom straight into the first image though. Interested in this first image really, because no number plate, but it looks like the same car by the looks of it. Same house, so it's the same location, but a completely different time of year, as you can see. So that's a little bit weird, isn't it? And then we can also got this little shot of the rear. Now you can see there isn't really very much luggage space at the back there when we've got those seats in that position. We've got a little bit of an integrated reversing light in the bumper, and then a little bit of a fog lamp hanging down there, like it's been a little bit forgotten. Anyway, let's pick a few key points out and see what it's got to say. So it starts off with this little bit of a quote here, or a little bit of a paragraph from Autocar and Motor. For general motorway work and long distance cruising, the Space Wagon could hold a steady 70 to 80 miles per hour all day if one wished, with armchair comfort to boot. And indeed, I think this first paragraph really sums it up. It says, if you were planning a car around your family and their needs, what would you look for? Naturally, plenty of room for the family and loads of space. Should also be comfortable and reliable and a joy to handle and a pleasure to drive. Hence why we got these little MPVs, or minivans as they call them in North America. Now it looks actually quite a small car, but it is telling us it can seat 7 adults in roomy comfort in 3 rows of seats. Majority of it's actually telling you how nice it is for a family car, and then it goes on to tell us, it's got front disc brakes, rear drum brakes, so nothing out of the ordinary. An 1800cc 4-cylinder engine producing 88 bhp. And then really kind of like what you would expect at this time, front wheel drive to make more room inside. We turn the page and then we get this another unusual image. Again, a GLX version, although when you get to the end of the brochure you realise there's only 2 models, the GLX and the GLX Auto, so GLX doesn't mean quite as much when that's all you can get, really, is it? Anyway, let's read some of the text and learn about why there's this strange picture in here. So it says, half a dozen reasons for buying a space wagon. Obviously, it's all surrounded by a family, but it says, when the world's only all-girl sex triplets started school, it needed much more than the ordinary car to cope with the load. So the Waltons chose the Mitsubishi Space Wagon. So we learn that this is indeed a very unusual family. I wonder where they are now, and I also wonder if they actually chose the Mitsubishi Space Wagon, or were they actually just given one for free? I don't know. I really don't know the story of that. And then we turn the page, and very wordy brochure. I think that's the main takeaway from this particular one. Mitsubishi really went to town really to tell you all about this car. But let's zoom in on that interior image. So we zoom in on that interior, and what do we discover? Acres and acres of grey plastic. Yeah, it's very plasticky, very grey on the inside for sure. Although when you start looking around, you realise it's pretty well equipped actually. Lots of switches on the door there. I'm presuming electric windows all around, possibly. Looks like a bit of a little joystick type thing for moving the mirror around. Yeah, lots of plastic, but also lots of switches, and even the radio unit there looks quite a fancy one, doesn't it? So for the time period, I think they were pretty well equipped. Obviously this is the manual version. Oops, just kind of like moved back as I noticed the steering wheel is very odd, isn't it? It's not symmetrical, it's kind of like all going to one side. Not sure how I feel about that. And yeah, this is only really quite early days, I guess, for MPVs, although I guess other manufacturers have been doing it for quite a while. But in typical MPV minivan fashion, fold the seats down, various different little ways of carrying random objects around. But you can really see in that picture there isn't very much luggage space there, is there, behind that 3rd row. But lots of different combinations, even if you want to take your pet birds on a journey. And then you can use it as a van if you so desired. Kind of hoping those front seats are pretty strong though. I wouldn't like that to come forward. But anyway, let's move on. And like I say, I'm not going to go through all the text. It is very wordy, isn't it? But it's kind of like showing you that it is pretty well equipped for what it is. It says, a very high level of equipment at no extra cost. Power assisted steering, central door locking, electrically controlled driver and passenger door mirrors, all electric windows, FM stereo, LW, MW radio with auto reverse, quartz clock, large glove box, etc, etc. So pretty well equipped, really, like it says. And then as we get to the end of the brochure, we get accessories and specifications and features. I'm going to jump straight into those accessories, because I always like accessories in these. Period accessories are usually quite interesting, so let's zoom in on those images. So it starts with this load area cover, which, you know, covers that entire area over those 4 rear seats by the looks of it. So we can get different carpets. We can also get different wheel trims if you didn't like that steel look with those centre caps. Child seats, and whenever I see these child seats, I think this isn't very long ago, but I'm glad we've moved on a bit from these child seats, which really don't look that safe. Obviously touch-up paints, a little chrome trim for your exhaust if you wish. We get this unusual thing which it calls an inspection lamp. You can plug it into the cigarette lighter. Got a magnet on it. It was a little bit unusual. Emergency bulb kits. This very unusual wheel. At first I thought it was actually a wheel trim, but it's actually telling me this is an actual wheel. Not sure it really suits the vehicle, but there we go. We could get some kind of wheel, possibly even an alloy. Doesn't really go into detail. A rear blind, interestingly. You had a funny period where, you know, they used to sell rear blinds for various different vehicles, although you never really saw anyone get them. Various different, well, it looks like fog and spotlights, I'm assuming. Some kind of sportier wheels, which I very much doubt anyone would have put one of those on your Space Wagon, but maybe for other Mitsubishis in the range. Locking wheel nuts, mud flaps, and your sort of warning triangle, and like a gas can. And then the main specifications, or major specifications as it calls it, just 2 models, 1800 GLX, 1800 GLX Auto, so presumably the same trim levels, just an automatic on one. So that's a 4-cylinder inline 1755cc unit, 5-speed manual or a 3-speed auto, power assisted ventilated disc drum setup for the brakes. Suspension, so front is McPherson strut and coil spring, rear is independent trailing arm and coil spring, rack and pinion steering, tyre sizes which are the same, looks like the turning circle and some dimensions, and even the ground clearance and curb weights at the bottom here, as well as the fuel tank capacity before it tells us the top speed, so an estimated, so no one's even tested this, but apparently it could be 102 miles per hour for the manual, 98 miles per hour for that automatic. Fuel economy figures not bad if you're doing 56, but urban cycle, it's pretty low for a car in the UK, but I guess, you know, it is an 1800. And then it gives you the standard features. I guess because they're both GLXs, it's both the same for both. Power steering, auto choke, 7 seats, fully adjustable, stereo radio cassette, electric windows, childproof rear door locks, front passenger seat under tray, rear heater ducts and a laminated windscreen, as well as tinted window glass, rear window wash wipe, headlamp washers, heated rear window, electrically controlled door mirrors, remote tailgate release, remote fuel cap release, low fuel warning lamp, analog quartz clock. So, like I say, not bad features really for what it is. So we start at the back page then. Mitsubishi Motors, designed to be driven. That's where your dealer stamp would be, of course, dated the 0890. And then at the bottom, some interesting addresses. It actually talks about the export market, and then it starts talking about Germany, or W Germany, West Germany as it would have been at the time there. And then right at the bottom there is the head office in the UK. So there we go, the little Mitsubishi Space Wagon. Kind of forgot about these, and I picked this brochure and thought, oh yeah, there was quite a few of them running around, certainly in my little town in the UK, a lot of people seem to have these, and no doubt they're a pretty reliable ways of moving your family around. Although you kind of like think of minivans, MPVs, that kind of like scene has died out really for probably a less practical SUV now. Let me know what you think anyway. Do you remember these cars? Jot it in the comments. Always like reading those. But thank you so much for watching today. Please do like and subscribe, and we'll see you very soon. So take care and goodbye.